So, students, today we are going to discuss about the identification of, detection of different elements present in the carbon compounds or organic compounds. The last video I told you, carbon compounds or organic compounds are made up of few elements. Among them, carbon, hydrogen are the essential elements, that is almost present almost in all the organic compounds. And next, the other hetero elements, that the other elements are that is oxygen, nitrogen, that is sulfur, halogens, chlorine, fluorine, bromine, iodine, that is and rarely phosphorus. See, the phosphorus is associated with the ATP, adenosine triphosphate and adenosine triphosphate, and that is and after the carbon and hydrogen, more abundant element is in the carbon compounds is oxygen. That is and next nitrogen, next sulfur, halogens and phosphorus. So that is the hetero atom that is more abundant in the carbon compounds are oxygen. Most of the carbon compounds contain, the organic compounds contain oxygen also. The alcohols, aldehydes and ketones, carboxylic acids. So there are many things under and this. See, if the given substance is organic substance, strictly speaking, there is no need to identify the further test for the presence of the carbon or hydrogen. Carbon and hydrogen. By default, that is, all our organic compounds contain carbon and hydrogen. But there will be an exception. In the universe, no generalization is valid to the all situations. For every generalization, there will be an exception. So, see, this is the organic compound. It's a popular organic compound, C6O9. See, not C6O9. That is 6 plus 6, C12O9. It's an organic compound without hydrogen. There are many organic compounds or considerable number of organic compounds without hydrogen. But by seeing the exceptions, we cannot change our definition. 1 in 1000 molecules, 1000 compounds, the given organic compound may not contain the hydrogen. So, but majority of the compounds, most of the compounds, that is carbon organic compound without hydrogen is very, very rare. So, due to this we say that the all organic compounds contain carbon and hydrogen. These two are the essential elements. And the next thing is the oxygen and this. So, by using the appropriate chemical procedures, that is the nature of the different elements associated with the given organic compound can be determined. That chemical procedure used to determine that is different elements present in the given organic compound is called as the detection of the elements in the carbon compounds. Detection of the elements in the carbon compounds are quantitative estimation of the elements in the carbon compounds. Qualitative identification, qualitative estimation. So that is what are the different species present in the given organic substance. So there are several procedures. For each element there is one chemical procedure. See first, that is and detection of the carbon and hydrogen. Carbon and hydrogen. See, basically this is the procedure used as called as Liebig's method. Say combustion method, Liebig's method. So both carbon as well as the hydrogen, which are considered as the essential elements of the carbon compounds, can be detected by a single test, that is known as the Liebig's test. Liebig's test or Liebig's test. This is very simple. What is the principle here? What is the principle of this test? So in this test, what happens? The given organic compound is, the carbon present in the given organic compound is converted into carbon dioxide. The hydrogen is converted into the H2O. So this is carried, that is heating, excess of copper oxide. Given organic compound is heated with the excess of copper oxide. During this process, carbon is converted into carbon dioxide, hydrogen is converted into H2O. So that is the gases, two gases that are coming out are detected. If the carbon compound contains the carbon, it is converted to carbon dioxide. There is a standard test for the detection of the carbon dioxide, that is lime water test, and H2O, that is hydrogen present in the organic compound is converted into the H2O. That is there is a standard test for the detection of the H2O, vapors of the H2O, that is anhydrous copper sulfate. The carbon dioxide coming out is passed through the, that is lime water, CaOH, taken twice. Saturated solution of the calcium hydroxide is called as the lime water. This is lime water. So you know that it is converted into the calcium white, that is turbidity is formed, calcium carbonate, that is white turbidity is formed. Turbidity. White turbidity is formed. If you pass the excess of carbon dioxide, that is this calcium carbonate reacts with the carbon dioxide in the presence of the water, it is converted into the calcium bicarbonate, which is a colorless solution. This is colorless solution, and this on heating again gives the bicarbonate is converted into the calcium carbonate again, white turbidity is again reappear. This is the, so given organic compound, the same, under the same conditions, that is if the organic compound is heated with the copper oxide, the hydrogen part of the organic compound is converted into the H2O. The gaseous H2O comes out. This is passed over the anhydrous. This is anhydrous. Copper sulfate is that is white in color, and after the hydration, it is changed into the blue color. It is converted into the CuSO4 5H2O pentahydrate. That is this is the blue. That is the solid becomes the blue. So during this experiment, if the lime water turns, the given organic compound is heated with the excess of copper oxide in a that is a hard glass tube. During that process, carbon part is converted to carbon dioxide and hydrogen part is converted into H2O. The both gases comes out from the, that is a glass tube. The gases that are coming out first pass over the anhydrous copper sulfate, which is a white substance that absorbs the H2O and anhydrous is converted to the hydrated form. Hydrated copper sulfate has that is blue color. So then the gases are sent into that is the solution containing the lime water, that is through the lime water, where lime water absorbs the carbon dioxide and it turns that is white turbidity is produced. See, if the lime water turns that is a white, that gives the white turbidity, and anhydrous copper sulfate turns blue, that indicates that given organic compound contains the carbon as well as hydrogen. If this is converted into, that is copper sulfate is converted into the blue, and that is lime water is not affected by the gases that are coming out of the test tube, then we say that carbon is absent and hydrogen is present in the given organic compound. Or if that turns the lime water, that is a white milky solution, colorless lime water changes to the milky solution, and the anhydrous copper sulfate is not affected by the gases, then we say that the given organic compound contains the only carbon and hydrogen is absent. So that is H2 is not formed. So with this test, that is by using this test, we can find out that is the carbon and hydrogen in the given organic compound. This chemical procedure is called as the Liebig's method. So what is the procedure? The given small amount of the given organic compound and excess of copper oxide CuO, copper 2 oxide CuO are mixed. This mixture is kept in the hard glass tube. This is that is organic substance plus copper oxide, excess copper oxide, and taken into the glass tube, hard glass tube, and strongly heated. This is the procedure. See here, this is the glass tube. This is the bulb with copper sulfate, anhydrous copper sulfate, This is sent into the test tube or beaker containing the lime water. That is nothing but the calcium hydroxide. Or instead of the lime water, you can take the barium hydroxide solution also. So this is heated. This is the Bunsen. Heating is carried. During the heating, these two reactions takes place. Carbon part is converted into that is carbon dioxide, and hydrogen part of the organic compound under the strong heating is converted into the H2O. So from here, carbon dioxide and H2O are produced. They are coming through the delivery tube. The gases that are coming from this system is called as the delivery tube. And first, these gases are entering into the bulb containing the copper sulfate, where copper sulfate, that is takes the water, that is not water, the water vapor or the H2O gas, that is converted into the CuSO4 5H2O, which indicates the conversion of the anhydrous copper sulfate blue changes into the blue, that indicates the presence of the hydrogen. Here I told the word, this is the reaction, that is carbon dioxide plus calcium hydroxide gives the that is calcium carbonate plus water. Calcium carbonate inside milky solution is formed. White turbidity is formed. So that is and if you pass the excess of carbon dioxide, that is the turbidity disappear. This is the Liebig's experiment and detection of the carbon and hydrogen in the given organic compounds. I told you at the beginning only, that is if it's an organic substance, there is no need to conduct this test to identify the presence of the carbon. So that is and majority of the compounds contain that is carbon and hydrogen. So this is the Liebig's test and detection of the carbon and hydrogen in the given organic compound. So next one is the other elements, heteroatoms. So carbon and hydrogen are the family members of they are considered as the family members of that is organic class of compounds. So the other elements are considered as that is a heteroatom, that is detection of the nitrogen, halogens and sulfur. Detection of the nitrogen, that is halogens and sulfur. See, for identification of these elements, what is the procedure used? Chemical procedure used. So that is this is called as the Lassengen's test. Lassengen's test. Lassengen's test. So by using the Lassen test, you can identify the nitrogen, you can identify the halogens, and you can identify the sulfur oxide. 3 elements can be identified by using this test. But it is not the direct test, it is the indirect test. See, preparation of the first part is the preparation of sodium extract or Lassengen's extract This is in short form, it is called as the LE, Lassengen's extract, or this is also called as the sodium extract, that is SE, sodium extract. See, what is the principle involved in this? First, see, principle. What is the principle involved in this test? See, the given organic compound contains the nitrogen, halogen and sulfur, that is the phosphorus, they may be oxygen, they may be present, but they are covalently bonded to the carbon atom. That is, the bond between the nitrogen atom and carbon is that is the covalent bond. Nitrogen-hydrogen bond is covalent bond. These are not free. They are not ionizable groups. They are firmly connected to the carbon. Therefore, directly, by conducting the test on the given organic substance, we cannot identify the presence of the nitrogen. It is not ionizable nitrogen. It is not ionizable halogen. If you take the sodium chloride, that is, if you add to the water, that is, it disintegrates and converts into the chloride ion. There is an ionic bond, it is undergoing the ionization. The chlorine is separated in the form of free chloride ion. By conducting the test on the solution, The presence of the chlorine can be identified, which is originally present in the form of chloride. Here, the halogen is present, chlorine is present, it is covalently bonded. The carbon-chlorine bond is non-ionizable bond. Therefore, presence of the chlorine easily cannot be detected. So now you have to convert into that is these elements to be converted into that is ionizable groups. Nitrogen is finally converted into the cyanide ion. Halogen is chlorine, bromine, iodine, fluorine are converted into the halide ions. And sulfur is converted into the sulfide ion, S2 minus ion. So ionizable, they should be converted into the ionizable groups. So ultimately, nitrogen present in the organic compound is detected by converting the organic nitrogen into cyanide ion, halogens into halide ion, fluoride, chloride, bromide, iodide, sulfur into sulfide ion. In the inorganic chemistry, there are the standard tests for the cyanide, standard test for the halide ions, fluoride, chloride, bromide, iodide, and there is a standard test for that is sulfide ion. So the organic sulfur to be converted into the inorganic sulfide ion, organic nitrogen to be converted into the inorganic cyanide ion, and organic halogen should be converted into and halogen connected to the carbon, I am calling it as the organic halogen is converted into the halide ion. Right? This is the case. So for that, a chemical procedure is to convert into the ionic form. A specific chemical procedure is used. That specific chemical procedure is called as the Lassinger's test. Lassinger's test. So that is to carry out the Lassinger's test, there is a first, that is you have to prepare the Lassinger's extract. What is the basic principle involved in that? So let us see the word procedure afterwards. What is the basic principle involved in the Lassinger's test? In the preparation of the Lassinger's extract. You are not directly conducting on that is a given organic substance. So what they do, the small amount of the given organic compound is strongly heated with metallic sodium, sodium metal. Freshly cut piece of the sodium is used and strongly heated. Now what we are doing, that is organic substance. Organic substance is treated with the sodium, strongly heated with the sodium. Some chemical reaction, thermal reaction is going on. Under vigorous conditions, forced conditions, the sodium reacts with the different elements present in this. That is those heteroatoms, nitrogen, halogen and sulfur. Sodium reacts with the organic sulfur and convert into sodium sulfide, which is a source for the sulfide ion. So organic sulfur is converted into sulfide ion. This is during this process, the halogen present in the compound is converted into the halide ion. If the chlorine is present in the given organic compound, sodium chloride is formed. Bromine is present in the organic compound, sodium bromide is formed, which is the source for the free bromide ion. And iodine is present, sodium iodide is formed. Fluorine is present, sodium fluoride is formed. That is, you are converting into the inorganic fluoride ion. So now, and if the nitrogen is present in the given organic compound during this process, then what happens? That is, the nitrogen part reacts with the metallic sodium in the presence of what? In the presence of the carbon. Carbon is required. Nitrogen alone is not reacting with the sodium. That is reacting with the metallic sodium in the presence of the carbon of the organic substance, that is converted to the sodium cyanide. That is what is happening during the strong heating. That is, sodium reacts with the carbon and nitrogen. This is దీని కొరకు వచ్చిన మనం. We are here for this, and nitrogen, that is converting into the sodium cyanide. So which is the source for the, is an ionic compound, sodium cyanide, and that is sodium reacts with the, that is sulfur, to give the sodium sulfide, which is the source for sulfide ion. This is the source for cyanide ion. For your information, I am writing the sodium cyanide is an ionic compound, sodium sulfide is an ionic compound. Now this, and this is the, if the sodium reacts with the, that is halogen, anything, the chlorine, bromine, iodine, that is, let me write the what X is the general, normally we use the what X as the symbol of the halogen, that is NaX. This is nothing but the X minus ion, that is fluoride ion, chloride ion, bromide ion, iodide ion, to represent that as the form. This is the what we are doing in the preparation of the Lassengen's extract. That is, give a small amount of the given organic compound is strongly heated in the presence of the metallic sodium due to thermal effect. The metal, that is the nitrogen, halogens and sulfur present in the organic compound, the organic compound undergoes decomposition. The element, these elements react with the metallic sodium. Nitrogen is finally converted to sodium cyanide, and sulfur is finally converted to simple sodium sulfide, and halogen is finally converted to that is halide ion. This is the heating process. That is and A. So this is, and now second part is the, that is now second part of this is the, what they do, this is the residue which is left in the tube, glass tube, is, that is they dissolved in the, dipped in the water, and the contents are taken into the water, whatever the residue that is formed, residue contains the, this one, and converted into the, dissolved in the, taken into the solution water, and these are sodium cyanide, sodium sulfide, sodium halides are soluble in the water, and a solution is formed. If the given organic compound contains the nitrogen, that nitrogen finally, that solution, the nitrogen is present in the final solution in the form of cyanide ion, and if the halogen is present, the halogen of the organic substance finally appear in the Lassengen's extract in the form of, that is the halide ion, and sulfur in the form of sulfide ion. So the other things I will tell you later. This is the converted into this. Now, from that solution, the solution that is prepared by this procedure is called as the sodium extract or Lassengen's extract. So by using the sodium we are preparing the solution, therefore it is called as the sodium extract or Lassengen extract. Le, we use the word symbol Le. So further, presence of the preparation is not giving the any test. We prepared, that's all. Further we have to conduct the what test. So that is to detect the, that is the nitrogen in the organic compound, carry out the test on the, that is the Lassengen extract, and to find out the presence of the cyanide ion, not nitrogen. Because your nitrogen, organic nitrogen is in the form of cyanide ion. And to detect the presence of the sulfur in the given organic compound, you carry out the test for the sulfide ion. And for the halogens, to find out the, conduct the experiment, that is try to use the appropriate procedure to identify the presence of the halide ion in the Lassengen extract. Further tests to be carried. So Lassengen extract is used, this is the procedure. So let me take the, what happens, how to detect that. This is the procedure. And now how to prepare the, that I have not shown the what the, that is the, only just I told the what principle. That is, next one is the, see what we have to do is, this is the fusion tube. So fusion tube is nothing but a glass tube. So this is a water for injection. See, the fusion tube is one with withhold the high temperature conditions. It will not break. It can withhold that, it will not melt under ordinary laboratory conditions. This is the glass tube, hard glass tube or fusion tube, and take a piece of, what is the procedure? Freshly cut piece of sodium. Take the sodium. Sodium has a reaction with the atmosphere. It reacts with the H2O present in the atmosphere, oxygen present in the atmosphere. It reacts with the carbon dioxide. Therefore, what happens? Superficially, a crust is formed over the sodium piece. That crust is nothing but it is a sodium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate, sodium hydroxide, and sodium oxide. So several compounds. Therefore, sodium is always kept, that is, it should not be exposed to the air because due to reaction, it should be always kept in the inert solvent, like we normally say that is a kerosene, but you can use in the any inert solvent, benzene or hexane or anything. So it should not have the reaction with those materials, inert solvents. So normally we call it as the cheapest one is the kerosene, and it's kept under this one. Take the small piece and remove the superficial crust. I told you crust is that is reacted sodium. So inside there will be a glowing metallic sodium will be there, and that is a freshly cut piece of the sodium, small piece is taken. So normally this is the sodium piece. Fusion, sodium fusion. And now see, heat it. This is heated. When slightly heated, it is a soft metal. You can cut it with the knife. Soft metal, poor metal bonding because of that is the only one valence electron. That is it melts. So when it melts, then what you have to do is add that is organic, small amount of the organic substance. Small amount of the organic substance to this. Now metallic sodium and given organic substance both are in this is a fusion tube. I told you that is called as a fusion tube. Heating is carried. First heat slowly. Slightly warming is carried. Slowly it is heated. It is suddenly not heated to the high temperature conditions. The organic substances are the highly volatile, readily undergoes vaporization. If you do not give the sufficient time, if you heat it suddenly, then what happens? The organic substance changes into the vapor form, gas form that escapes from the tube without reacting with the metallic sodium. That is vaporization, converting into the vapor form, and vaporization of the organic substance is the major process than reacting with the metallic sodium. So first slowly it is heated for some time. We are allowing to react that is not allowing the organic substance to escape, and that is and slow heat it. Then after some time, that is increase the temperature. That is strongly heated. It is on the above the flame, now within the flame. Now what happens? That is on strong heating, then what happens? That reaction takes place between the different elements present in the organic compound and metallic sodium, that is converted into the Na plus carbon plus red hot heating, that is on strong heating gives the sodium cyanide. This is converted into the cyanide ion. If the organic compound contains the sulfur, then it is converted into the sodium sulfide, that is sulfide ion is formed. That is Na, previous equation, the X halogen, organic halogen, that is converted into the sodium halide, and halide ion is formed. These are the reactions taking place in the, that is glass tube, right? Glass tube, these reactions are taking place. So on vigorous heating, a residue is left, inorganic residue is left. So now what happens? Suppose here sodium, during this process you have to take the more amount of the sodium. If the organic compound contains the nitrogen as well as the, if organic substance contains both nitrogen and sulfur, if the two elements are present simultaneously in the same compound, there is a possibility for the other chemical reaction that reacts with the sodium, carbon plus nitrogen cyanide should form. This reacts with the sulfur also simultaneously, that is converted to the sodium thiocyanate, that is nothing but the CNS, thiocyanate ion. CNS minus ion is formed. It is not sulfide ion, it is not cyanide ion, it is a thiocyanate ion. Thiocyanate, CNO minus cyanate ion, thiocyanate ion is different from the cyanide ion and sulfide ion. This will not give the test of properties of the cyanide ion is different, properties of the thiocyanate ion is different. So the test used for the detection of the cyanide ion is not applicable to this, and the test used for the sulfide ion is, that is not useful for the detection of the thiocyanide ion. So this is formed. So in order to prevent this, sodium thiocyanate, in order to prevent this, excess of sodium is used. NaCN plus sodium excess. Then what happens? That is converted to the simple salts, sodium cyanide and sodium sulfide. So normally, to avoid that complications, that is normally here excess of sodium is used. This is the procedure, that the heating procedure. Fusion of the given organic substance with excess of metallic sodium. First slowly, then suddenly heated to high temperature. Now this is under high temperature conditions, red hot glass tube. This red hot glass tube is the second part is the, that is red hot glass tube is, this is the, take the any container, a porcelain dish. Take a porcelain dish. This is the water, nearly 20 to 30 ml of distilled water. Take distilled water into a porcelain dish and suddenly dip the red hot glass tube into this. When glass come into suddenly its temperature decreases, what happens? It breaks. Once this tube is immersed in this distilled water, few ml of the distilled water, 20 or 30 or 40 ml of the distilled water. So the red hot tube, when come into contact with the cold water, that breaks, and all the contents which are here, the charred content come into contact with the water. Now take a appropriate fizzle, and that is it's a motor and fizzle, that is stir it. Then what happens? You are grinding the contents of the fusion tube with the distilled water. Now this is all soluble from this charred material, when come into contact with all soluble inorganic compounds, move into this one. Now sodium fusion is carried, the tube is dipped in the distilled water, tube breaks and the content come into contact with the water, distilled water, and thoroughly grind it, all glass pieces and all these things, filtered. So glass pieces or charred materials, whatever are the left, black pieces left on the filter paper, that is only, that is and this is the, that is solution, filtrate. So this is the filtrate. After filtration, that is the liquidous part that you get is the coming out of the filter paper filtrate. This contains those salts. This filtrate is called as a Lassangen extract or sodium extract. This is used for the detection. The first part of the Lassangen's test and identification of these elements, given elements, is the preparation of the Lassangen extract and or sodium extract. This solution is used for the detection of the elements, those elements. So what is happening? I told the principle. During the heating, these are the changes taking place. If the given organic compound contains, that is along with the carbon and the hydrogen, it contains the nitrogen, this solution contains the cyanide ion only. Now you have to choose an appropriate the chemical technique to identify the cyanide ion. And if the organic compound contains the sulfur, no nitrogen, and only along with the carbon and the hydrogen sulfur is present, then this contains that is sulfide ion. By conducting the test for that is a sulfide ion, presence of the sulfur can be identified. Presence of the sulfur in the organic compound can be identified. If this gives the test for the cyanide ion, nitrogen is present. If this gives the test for the sulfide ion, that is sulfur is present in the given organic compound. If it gives the test for the nitrogen, cyanide ion as well as the sulfide ion, we say that given organic compound contains that is nitrogen as well as the sulfur, both elements. And if this compound gives the test for the halide ion, chloride, bromide, iodide, anything, that we say that this contains that is halogen atom. That is halogen is present in the given halogen containing organic compound. If it gives the test for that is cyanide ion as well as the halide ion, then it is we say that the given organic compound contains the nitrogen as well as halogen. It may be chlorine or bromine or iodine, whatever it is, that depending upon this thing. If it gives the test for the cyanide ion, test for the sulfide ion, test for the halide ion, then that is we say that the given organic compound contains the nitrogen and sulfur as well as halogen, specific halogen is present in the organic compound. Therefore, now we are conducting the test for that is to detect the specific that is the elements present in that is given organic substance by conducting the test on that is Lassangen's extract. For the identification, that is direct test is not possible. Directly, that is by conducting the test on the organic compound, we cannot detect these elements. So now this is detection of nitrogen, that is Lassangen's test. Lassangen's test. See, this is the case. What they do. Now, take the few drops of first few drops of Lassangen's extract. So that is if the nitrogen is present, I told you many times, that is the nitrogen is converted to the cyanide. If the reaction is carried in the presence of the excess of metallic sodium. Few drops of the Lassangen extract. So that is here one more thing I forgot to tell you, that is during this process sodium hydroxide also formed in this. How sodium hydroxide is formed? So we have taken the excess of metallic sodium. Therefore, the excess of sodium present in the tube, when it is dipped in this, the sodium reacts with the water to convert into sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. You know, metallic sodium reacts with the water together. So now finally that Lassengen's extract is slightly alkaline due to the presence of the sodium hydroxide. So to this what they do is Lassengen extract plus and ferrous sulfate is added. To the few drops, take the few drops of the Lassengen extract in the test tube and add the freshly prepared ferrous sulfate solution or the solid ferrous sulfate is added. So, ఏమొస్తుంది ఇక్కడ green precipitate is formed. Compulsory is formed. Whether nitrogen is present or not, compulsory green precipitate is formed. To this green precipitate, add the addition and H2SO4, sulfuric acid. So after the addition of the H2SO4, if the Prussian blue color solution or precipitate is formed, Prussian blue color or precipitate or green solution, Prussian blue color solution or green color solution or corresponding precipitate is formed, then that indicates that is and presence of the nitrogen in the original organic compound. What is taking place? How to explain about this formation? That is here during this process, the cyanide ion, if the given organic compound contains the nitrogen, cyanide ion is present in this. Lassengen extract contains cyanide ion that reacts with the ferrous sulfate to give that is cyanide complex of the ferrous ion, that is after treatment with the H2SO4, that is ultimately ferrocyanide complex is formed, which has the Prussian blue color. Let us write the word reactions. Or to the few drops of that is Lassengen extract, green precipitate is formed. Up to this same, the R you can use this procedure. Treat with the HCl, add the HCl. Instead of sulfuric acid, you are adding the HCl. Then first add the HCl, then ferric chloride. So that is this indicates the Prussian blue color. You can use the word sulfuric acid or HCl followed by ferric chloride. So any test you can use that gives that is a Prussian blue color. This one. What is happening? What are the reactions here? That is, let me write the reactions here. What is happening? If the given organic compound contains, I am writing. If the given organic compound contains that is the carbon, that is the nitrogen, during the sodium fusion, this is sodium cyanide is formed. Right? I am writing the principle involved in the detection of the nitrogen. And to this, what we are doing, you see, to the Lassengen extract contains the sodium cyanide ion. You are adding the ferrous sulfate. To the sodium cyanide, you are adding the ferrous sulfate. See, it is converted into that is and ferrous cyanide plus sodium sulfate. Right? Just double decomposition reaction. This is ferrous cyanide further reacts with the ferrous ion, ferric ion have the greater tendency to form the complex with the cyanide ion. That is a strong field ligaand. This is reacts with the again excess of sodium cyanide to give that is Na2, Na4, Fe, Cn taken 6 times. Complex is formed. 4 more molecules of sodium cyanide react with this complex is formed. Right? This is Here during this process what happens, this is the sodium hexacyanide ferrate 2, right? Name of the sodium ferrocyanide, sodium hexacyanide ferrate 2 complex is formed. So nitrogen present in the organic compound ultimately now after the addition of the ferrous sulfate to the, that is the Lassagne extract, this is formed. And what is green precipitate? That is a ferrous sulfate which is present in the solution added also reacts with the sodium hydroxide. So where from sodium hydroxide? Why are you taking sodium hydroxide and where from it is? It contains the sodium hydroxide. Because there you have to use the excess of metallic sodium. The leftover metallic sodium reacts with the water and definitely the sodium hydroxide is formed. The Lassagne extract is slightly alkaline due to the presence of the sodium hydroxide. Ferrous sulfate reacts with the sodium hydroxide. That is solubility product of the ferrous hydroxide is very less. Green precipitate is formed. FeOH taken twice. This is the green PPT plus Na2SO4. Right? This is the case. So after the addition of the, this is the Lassagne extract. To the Lassagne extract you are adding the ferrous sulfate. These are the changes taking place. So that is a part of the ferrous sulfate is converted into the sodium ferrosulfate. Sodium ferrosulfate, and part of the ferrous sulfate is converted into the ferrous hydroxide because of the base. Solubility product principle. This green color. So this dominates. This dominates. Therefore, whether the nitrogen is present or not, if you add the ferrous sulfate, that reacts with the sodium hydroxide and gives the green precipitate. Formation of the green precipitate is not the indication of the presence of the nitrogen. So always green precipitate is formed. That green precipitate to be eliminated, it is the base. You are adding the, that is FeOH taken twice, which is a green precipitate. That sulfuric acid is added. That gives the FeSO for acid-base reaction plus water. Ferrous sulfate. So you are eliminating the what ferrous hydroxide, green precipitate, that is green color. That is by adding the sulfuric acid. After the addition of the sulfuric acid, now you have to add the ferrous sulfate followed by sulfuric acid. After the addition of the sulfuric acid, if the solution shows a Prussian blue color or green color, then that indicates the presence of the nitrogen. The compound formed is now this is now reacting with the Na4FeCN taken 6 times. So that is recently you finished your coordination chemistry. I did not tell that is about this complex and this, and reacts with the Fe2SO4 taken thrice. See, Fe2SO4 ferric sulfate. I am taking the ferric sulfate, new substance, ferric ion is converted into the, that is Fe4FeCN taken 6 times, taken thrice. This is the complex. Plus that is Na2SO4. A new complex is formed having the formula Fe4FeCN taken 6 times. The valency of this ion, complex ion is 4. Valency of this is 3. That is 3. This is 4. Therefore the crisscross, that is 3. This is nothing but the ferric iron 3. Counter ion is ferric ion. Outside the coordination sphere, inside hexa cyanido ferrate, that is 2. So this is called as the ferrocyanide is formed. This has the Prussian blue color. The final Prussian blue color compound formed is this. But one question. So you have taken the Lassagne extract, treated with the ferrous sulfate, which is the source for the only ferrous ions. How come this ferric sulfate? You are taking in the final step, you are taking the ferric ions. How come? From where they are coming? How to account the involvement of the ferric ions in the reaction or ferric sulfate? Ferrous sulfate is 2 ferric, but ferrous sulfate is very unstable in the aqueous solution. Therefore, we always say that freshly prepared ferrous sulfate solution. Freshly prepared ferrous sulfate solution is used. Because if the ferrous sulfate is added to the water, that is slowly reacts with the water and converted to that is basic ferric sulfate is formed. FeOHSO4 is formed. That is ferrous ion readily change into the not stable ferrous ion, convert into that is ferric ion in the aqueous solution. Therefore, ferrous salts are not stable in the basic medicine in the aqueous solution. So part of it is converting into this is the Fe2 plus ion, ferrous ion. This is the half O2 plus 2H plus ion. 2H plus ion gives that is and this is Fe3 plus ion plus water plus electron. This is the case. 2 electron system, that is you have to take the water to this thing electron. So it's an unbalanced equation. Ferrous ion is oxidized to ferric ion. What is this oxygen? Aerial oxygen. Where is the aerial oxygen? It is a solution. The water contains the dissolved oxygen. So aquatic animals are living in the water. They take the water, required oxygen from the water, not by decomposing the water, dissolved oxygen. Therefore, what happens? The ferrous, whenever the ferrous sulfate is added to the water, part of it is converted to the ferric sulfate. Right? Ferric sulfate. So that it is the source for the ferrous ions as well as the ferric ions. Due to oxidation of ferrous ions into ferric ions. Always it is the source, not here. That's why ferrous sulfate to be immediately used, freshly prepared ferrous sulfate to be used. Otherwise, with time, what happens? Brown precipitate is ferrous sulfate by reacting with the water converted into that is FeOH, that is SO4, basic ferric sulfate. This is hydroxy ferric sulfate. That is formed +2 iron. This is +3 iron. So you need not struggle to convert the ferrous ion into ferric ion. That is automatically converting. That system, ferrous sulfate system, is providing the ferrous ions and converting into this. So ultimately, during the Lassange's extraction preparation, the nitrogen part is converted into the cyanide. That cyanide is detected finally detected in the form of ferrocyanide. Ferric hexacyanoferrate 2 complex is formed. That is responsible for the Prussian blue color. If the concentration of this is very, very low, instead of the Prussian blue color, it shows the green color also. But just addition of the ferrous sulfate, formation of the green precipitate is not the test for this one. Add the ferrous sulfate and add the H2SO4. Even after addition of the H2SO4, if the solution is that is green color or Prussian blue color, then it is the indication for that is the presence of the nitrogen in the given organic compound. it is the indirectly test for the cyanide ion, indirectly test for the, that is ferric ion. So that's leave the word that other way, the ferric ion test or ferrous ion test. This is the actually happening. If I write that is the ionic equation for the same thing, ionic reaction for the same thing. So what is happening, you see? See, carbon and nitrogen are combining, sodium, carbon and nitrogen are combining to give the sodium cyanide, which is the source for, that is Na plus and Cn minus. You are taking the Lasingen extract, that is cyanide ion, plus you are adding the ferrous sulfate. This is converted into the FeCN taken twice. This FeCN taken twice is further reacting with the 4 more cyanide ions and converting to the FeCN taken 6 times, that is 4 minus ion. Ferrocyanide ion is formed. This is the principle. The ferrocyanide ion that is formed after addition of the, that is ferrous sulfate, so reacts with the ferric ion to give the, that is Fe4 FeCN taken 6 times, that is taken twice. Ferric ion, ferrous ion, ferrocyanide. Complex that has a pressure. See, this is the simple way of explaining. Where from this comes? It comes from the ferrous sulfate only. Or else there is another procedure, that is instead of the sulfuric acid, that is in the last step you can use the HCl also. If the HCl is used, ferrous sulfate is soluble in the, that is HCl. Ferrous chloride is formed. And now, and further, you are adding the, externally you are adding the ferric chloride. So then, so instead of converting the ferrous ion into ferric ion, now you are adding the external ferric, this one. This is, ferric ion is added. Ferric chloride is the source for the ferric ion. The ferric ion reacts with the ferrocyanide formed and gives the this one. So, after the addition of the ferrous sulfate, you can conduct the reaction in 2 ways. By adding the H2SO4 or by adding the HCl followed by ferric chloride. So, that way you can carry out the reaction. Ferric chloride can be used. But one thing here you see, and for this organic compound should contain the nitrogen for this test as well as the carbon also. It should contain the carbon also, because it has to finally convert into the cyanide ion. So to form the word cyanide ion, that is it should contain the carbon also. So if you take the urea, CO double bond O NH2, this is NH2. This contains the nitrogen as well as the carbon, therefore it gives the Lasingen's test. So if you take the hydrazine, the well-known example anywhere you can see, hydrazine is a nitrogen containing compound. See, this nitrogen containing compound, this cannot give the, that is Lasingen's test for nitrogen. Why? It has the nitrogen but there is no carbon. So nitrogen has to convert into the, that is cyanide ion. To convert into the cyanide ion, there must be a carbon. So it does not give the, this one. If you take the hydroxylamine, So it contains the nitrogen but no carbon. It does not give the but test for Lassengen's test for nitrogen. So that should contain. See, one example is, important example is, that is the anything, this is the benzene or anything that's so this is called as the benzene diazonium chloride. It is the compound with the carbon as well as the, that is nitrogen. It should give the it should give the Lassengen test for nitrogen. But this does not give the azo compound. These are called as the azo compounds, diazo compounds. These are very unstable. So to carry out the test, the given organic compound has to be strongly heated with the metallic sodium. So very unstable compound. If it is heated, before reacting with the metallic sodium, it undergoes decomposition, comes out. That is chlorobenzene is formed here. That is nitrogen is liberated. It is escaped from the system in the form of this one. So remember, azo compound, diazo compounds do not give the, they are nitrogen containing compounds, but they do not give the test for Lassengen's test for nitrogen due to that they undergo the decomposition. Nitrogen gas is liberated. That is that escapes, nitrogen escapes. That is cyanide is not formed. Therefore, they do not give the this one. So they should contain the carbon. One, and second one is the organic compound azotype diazonium salts do not give the diazonium salts do not give the, that is Lassengen's test for nitrogen. See, next one is the, this is the test for nitrogen.